Hi, everyone. Firstly, it's really exciting to be here. I started my entrepreneurial journey in Kuala Lumpur in Bangsa about 10 years ago, 2004. Back then, it was a completely different city. The stuff that you guys have available right now did not exist. And I remember going for months working in Starbucks and Coffee Bean in Bangsa without ever meeting another .com entrepreneur fiddling around on his laptop. So what you guys have is incredible, and I think Magic and Cheryl and everyone who's been building this ecosystem deserves a round of applause. I run a company called Mindvalley. As I said earlier, it was started in a Starbucks in Bangsa. Back then in Starbucks, you had to order a drink to be able to use their Wi-Fi. So Mindvalley basically, Starbucks funded us. I had to buy coffee after coffee after coffee. I became addicted, but that's how I got free office space. Now, Mindvalley is a company in the education field. So our goal is to help people be extraordinary. My personal goal is to hack global education. I believe education hasn't been innovated upon in about 100 years. My goal is to work with governments, be able to, maybe 10, 20 years from now, pop into a country, reboot, reformat the entire education system, get entire nations to whole new levels of human development. That's our vision for 20 years from now. We are moving towards that vision by launching a range of different websites and apps and products all catered around hacking the human mind and hacking human potential. Our most popular website is mindvalleyacademy.com. It's an online university for personal growth. Started here in Malaysia. Today it has 300,000 paying students and revenues of over 80 million ringgit a year. Another successful business we built here in Kuala Lumpur is Ombana, which is a health and wellness app. Actually, the #1 highest grossing health and wellness app in over 30 countries. Again, built here in Kuala Lumpur, using talent from this ecosystem. But the reason we've been able to get this talent is because Mindvalley itself is a bit of a cultural anomaly. In other words, based on the way we think the world should work, Mindvalley shouldn't exist. It doesn't make any sense. You see, what happened was, right now, if you were to walk into Mindvalley, it is rather like a cult. In fact, we get accused of being a cult all the time, and I take that as a compliment. We have brilliant minds from all around the world. Right now, 40 different countries working from our HQ here in Kuala Lumpur itself. But it wasn't always this way. We started out in New York in 2003. Just as I was starting, I got into issues with my US visa. My dream back then was to stay in the US, build a company, move to California, do the whole Silicon Valley thing. Did not get my US visa, so I had to restart in this city, Kuala Lumpur. Back then, 10 years ago, a lot of this stuff just wasn't available. Now, it wasn't just that. When I came back, I remember my friends from local universities like Taylor's College saying, Vishen, why did you come back? There is no talent here. Malaysia has massive brain drain. And they were right. Back then, Malaysia was losing 1% of its population every single year, and apparently the smartest people. They were leaving to Singapore or Hong Kong or Canada or the US, places with better opportunities. Now, I was faced with a choice, right? I could do the whole Malaysian thing and bitch and moan and whine about my situation on social media. Or, and you know what I'm talking about, or I could figure, screw that, I'm just going to create my own reality. I'm a big fan of the idea that what you believe becomes true about the world and about your reality. So I decided to create a new vision and belief for myself. And that belief was, I'm going to build the best damn place to work, not in Malaysia, but on the frickin' planet. Better than New York, better than anything in London, and it's going to be right here in Kuala Lumpur. Screw brain drain. Thank you. So, for the next 10 years up to now, that's what I've been obsessed with. Culture, vision, space, attracting global brilliant minds from all around the world. Mindvalley was born out of fire because we were in a really difficult situation. The cool thing about being in difficult situations is that that's what gives you the fire under your ass to really innovate. Okay, so the title of the speech is How to Attract Great Talent and Grow Like Crazy. What is unique about the speech is you're hearing it from a Malaysian who started in this culture, in this country, with less resources than you have available right now, so you have no damn excuse to not implement some of the ideas I'm going to share here. I am not some speaker flown in from the US. Cool? So, These are the pictures that people typically associate with Mindvalley, right? And one of the interesting ways we got there is this idea to attract global talent. See, when we were first starting out, we were based in a warehouse in Churras. Our office was absolutely the pits. It was in frickin' Churras. Have you guys ever been to Churras? Don't go there. So how did we attract talent? Well, we were smart. We put up job ads around the world. And here's the tip. Use an organization called ISEC, AIESEC.org. They attract smart talent from universities all around the world who are looking to work in foreign countries. We used ISEC to get our first talent. But we used another really interesting trick. We said, come work for Mindvalley in Kuala Lumpur, and within your first year, we will give you a free round trip to Bali. And Americans and Europeans, as soon as they hear Bali, it made them remember their job ad. Of course, that round trip on Air Asia cost us like 200 ringgit, right? But it made our job ads memorable. So we started getting resumes from all around the world. And to this day, now, of course, now Mindvalley has a brand of its own, but to this day, we have 40 different cultures, nationalities in our office. This is our customer support team, based here in Malaysia. And yesterday, they shared with me this image, which is really interesting. We have 15 people on our customer support team. They are a rock star team. They score in the top 2% of all teams globally, based on like customer agent scores. But that team has 15 people, and every single one of them holds a different passport. So the idea that you can't get talent in Malaysia, completely nonsensical. I get talent in Malaysia. I'm brain draining other countries. So when you pull this off, when you can get good talent, you get loyalty, innovation, hard work, fulfillment, impact, revenue growth. But the coolest thing is when you do this right, and I'm going to give you a formula, you get spectacular growth in your business. Mindvalley was started with $700 US, 2,000 ringgit. That 2,000 ringgit was used by me to pay a friend of mine whom I went to school with in Malaysia, in Bangsa, to build my first website. He built it for about 2,000 ringgit, right? Today, we are worth 100 million US, close to 1/3 of a billion ringgit in valuation. But here's the interesting thing. We got there in 10 years with no venture capital, no loans, no grant. Not a single loan, grant, or VC money. So to this day, as a founder, I still own my entire business. That's how powerful culture can be. Now, we in fact actually just took a small amount of investment from a guy called Kylie Ng from 500 Startups. That's why you see that sticker on my laptop. For the first time. But it's not because we needed the money. It's because Kylie came from Mindvalley. He was employee number 11. See, Mindvalley people right now, and this is one of the coolest things about what we've been able to do, right? Not only have we been able to grow the company, but the impact on the employees is one of the things I'm most proud of. We churn out more famous alumni than probably any other company here in this region. Kylie being one. Ramesh, who's a designer, you'll see him on TV. Wuhan, who started Malaysia's biggest tech group. This girl, Dana, who wrote the most viral personal growth book in the history of the world. We churn out people like Amir Ahmad, who wrote a book while working at Mindvalley called My Islam, which was picked up by Foreign Policy magazine as one of the top 25 must-read books of last year. He was working at Mindvalley. We have people making the front cover of magazines, people like Juan Matetegi, who's right now mentoring at the Cerebro program here at Magic. He runs Mindvalley Latin America. So Mindvalley people become really well known in Kuala Lumpur because we attract smart people in the first place, but then we put them in an environment that helps them grow. Now think about what that can do for your business if you can get that kind of leverage. Again, this is what we're going to show you. Peter Drucker said, culture eats strategy for breakfast. Culture is the single most important thing. You get your culture right, everything else will fix itself. Bad culture and a good product will lead to declining market share. Good culture and a bad product will lead to a good product. Culture fixes everything. But first, a bit of a myth and a reality, okay? A lot of people think perks are culture. So when journalists especially talk about Facebook or Google, they talk about the free food. They talk about things such as the beautiful office. That is not culture. In fact, in service of employees, one of the things they ranked least important to them is stuff such as free food. Mindvalley has a beautiful HQ. We've won numerous awards this year, like Best Interior Design. We made Inc. magazine, one of the coolest workspaces in the world. All of this built in Kuala Lumpur. But this isn't culture. This is just decoration. What culture is something very different. And I'm going to give you 9 steps to create it. If you follow these 9 steps in this path, okay, you will be able to replicate what we have done at Mindvalley. And I do mean replicate because other Malaysian companies are doing it. KylieSays.com has a lot of similarities to Mindvalley. In fact, Kylie, as employee number 11, was one of the guys who helped me create Mindvalley culture. And there are other companies in Malaysia who have adopted a lot of things that we do. The beanbags, the decoration, but again, they're adopting the superficial stuff. The culture is more deep-rooted. It's in the psyche, the subconscious level of the company itself. Okay, so the first step is this, the attraction. When you're trying to attract talent, you have to appeal to the why. People do not care what you do. They care why you do it. Simon Sinek said that in one of the most famous TED Talks ever. Companies like Coca-Cola, what does Coca-Cola produce? High fructose corn syrup, right? Basically, Coke's entire business is drink high fructose corn syrup because it tastes good. But that doesn't attract culture. Smart people are rarely motivated by selling crap. So what does Coke do? It rebrands itself. Coca-Cola equals happiness, dancing polar bears, people holding hands and running down hills, sharing Cokes with each other. It's really all about positioning. People don't care what you do, they care why you do it. Your company must have a mission, specifically a mission that helps improve the world. Now, you want to share this in your job ad. This is the typical job ad that you will see in JobStreet or Craigslist. We rarely ever put up these job ads. These job ads are crap. Nobody cares. They do not inspire. They attract mediocre people. These are our job ads. If you come to mindvalley.com, you'll see it says reinventing work. At Mindvalley, we believe JOB is a dirty 3-letter word. And then we go on to explain why. And we state 9 reasons to build your career at Mindvalley. Now, if you look at our job ad, you'll see something interesting. It doesn't list positions first. It talks about the soul of smart talent, what it is they are craving in their soul. Things such as freedom, having smart colleagues, a beautiful workspace, the opportunity to grow. And right now, our website looks pretty fancy, but that's our website from like 6 years ago. It was basically just a text list, but read that. 10 reasons to join Mindvalley: freedom, great people, culture and perks, training and education. We found that people care about this first and foremost over salary and title and their exact position. So it's important that you seek the underlying emotion as to why people take jobs. I've interviewed maybe thousands of people, and after the first couple of 100, I noticed something. The dumbest people I interviewed cared about the salary, the title, and what they were going to be doing. That was their first question. But the smartest people asked me deeper questions. And I noticed that what they cared about was really underlying emotion. Now, what is underlying emotion? In the book Culture Code by Clotaire Rappel, he says that Americans buy cars not because of the engine, but because cars to Americans equal identity. Americans buy a car because it's a form of self-identity. It has little to do with transport, little to do with the engine. This explains why weird-looking cars like the PT Cruiser by Chrysler did so well in America, because when you drive that, it says, I'm unique, I'm different. Now, it's the same with jobs. You think people take a job so they can earn a salary. No, the smartest people take a job for these 4 reasons. They want to grow, they want happiness, they want abundance, or they want to contribute. Now, we found, just like the culture code for cars, there's a culture code for jobs. And when I'm interviewing someone, I draw this matrix on a wall, and I said, okay, out of these 4 things, what is most important to you? Now, what I found is, right, in certain industries, like let's take the finance industry, where you work like a dog 80, 90 hours a week, but you make a ton of money before you're 40, that attracts people who are motivated by abundance. You look at companies like Google and Facebook with their beautiful offices. That inspires people who really love happiness. To them, happiness is what is important. You look at companies like the United Nations. They attract people who go through really hard lifestyles because those people care about contributing to the world. And you look at companies like Mindvalley, which are education companies, people join us because they value growth. So these 4 values govern how people look at your job. So when you're advertising your company, you talk about these. Now, the truth is, not everyone is just focused on one. when I'm interviewing someone, I said, okay, if I'm going to give you 10 points, how would you distribute these 10 points across these 4 things? I draw it on a chalkboard, give them a piece of chalk, and they put ticks where their 10 points are going to be. And then, if we really like them, we talk about Mindvalley in relation to this. So if they put most of their points on happiness, we talk about flexi time. We talk about the beautiful office space they get to work in. We talk about the social events we organize for employees. If they say abundance is important, we talk about how we pay competitive salaries plus 10%. We talk about how at a certain level you qualify for bonuses. You change your conversation based on this. Use this matrix. But the other cool thing about this matrix is, this is what your job page should be talking about. The first thing people should see on your job page is how our company helps you grow, how our company pays competitive salaries, how our company is contributing to the world or our city, how our company makes you happy. Read mindvalley.com/careers and read how we do this. Really simple. 9 reasons to join Mindvalley, but we cover this psychology. You do this, and you start attracting amazing talent. Now, another thing we do is the application process. We stop taking resumes because we get 2,000 resumes per position. So we say the only way to get a job at Mindvalley is to create a video cover letter. And people get insanely creative. If you go to YouTube and type in Mindvalley video cover letter, you'll see thousands of video cover letters from people all around the world to get a job at Mindvalley. And when they send in their video cover, and before they send in the video cover letter, we email them back and we say, as an auto reply, we say, to get an idea of our video cover letters, go to YouTube and type in Mindvalley. Okay, so they go to YouTube, they type in Mindvalley, and this is what they see. We have peppered YouTube with stuff to promote Mindvalley. They might stumble upon a video of our team retreat, or a testimonial from someone who currently works at Mindvalley, or a speech might be on company culture, or a video giving a tour of the office. You see what we're doing? We are selling them even before they've created that video cover letter. So now they really want to get in, and they really put in effort. And now we go from 2,000 resumes to 20 videos. But all those 20 videos are from remarkable people. This is one video, an actual video from a woman that we hired. She spent 300 man-hours creating an animated film to get noticed by Mindvalley. We hired her. She became one of our best hires ever. So 100 resumes we've found equals 1 video. When you get to a certain level in your company, if you know your company is in a level where people want to work from you, start asking for video cover letters. They really help you attract great candidates, and they inspire great candidates to want to join you, because great people love demonstrating themselves beyond a black and white sheet of paper. Here's an example video, okay? Here's an example video about Mindvalley that we put up on YouTube. And it's important that you do this with your team. If you have people in your team who are willing to do a video and talk about working at your company, get this information out on YouTube. This is Gabby.
Hello, I'm Gabby, and I'm a blog writer at Mindvalley. I came here a couple of years ago, actually, and funny enough, I came from a finance background. Never thought I could write, but everything changed when I got here. Someone could learn in, say, 5 years. All of that happened to me in 2 years. You know, emotionally, learning-wise, travel. It was an amazing experience. Blog writing is a little bit different. It's not your typical academic writing. You know, you don't sit down and just type out facts followed by more facts followed by proof, evidence. It's got more personality, I'd say. I bring up a lot of my own experiences, my friends' stories, all the things I've been through in my 25 years of living, and pack it into maybe just 300 words on a page. A lot of my influences for writing, honestly, South Park, Dave Chappelle, The Daily Show, spending 5 hours on a weekend reading Wikipedia, and yeah, that's about it. Oh, and cereal boxes. Yeah, they make me laugh. Mindvalley has been a great experience.
So you see
I couldn't ask for anything more.
We put up a letter, a video from someone talking about their job at Mindvalley. This video went viral. Thousands of people shared it on Facebook because Gabby, she's funny, and she was just being herself. That was just one take. When you get your most talented employees to share their experiences online, you become real. What we do, if you notice through that video, is we use our employees to attract other great employees, because a lot of people crave connection. And so when they see that we employ remarkable, charismatic, smart, intelligent people like Gabby, they want to join Mindvalley as well. So take your smartest people, your people who come across best on video, get them to create stories about working at your company. Get this up on YouTube. Put your company name there. If your company is Product X job, so people actually find it. Okay, so number 2, finding the right fit. Now, when you get people applying to you, how do you know who you should choose? Zig Ziglar, who's a famous motivational speaker, he used to coach companies, and he did this exercise that he wrote about, where he went into a company, and he got all the managers together, and he said, name every attribute of the perfect employee. So they came up with 100 attributes, and he said, let's spend another 2 hours, let's really make this list complete, let's continue brainstorming. They came up with another 14. Now they had 114 attributes of a perfect employee. And then Zig went to this list and put the letter A or the letter S next to each attribute. A meant it's an attitude. S meant it's a skill. Now what they found is that out of 114, roughly 107 were attitudes, and only 7 were skills. In short, the great employees were happier. They were more motivated. They were more confident. The skills, product management, project management, coding, were like maybe 7 out of 114. Now, what does this tell you? It says, don't care as much for skill as you care about attitude. Someone with lower skills but an amazing attitude will overtake someone with great skills but a lousy attitude. In fact, when we bring in someone in Mindvalley, for the first 3 months, we put them on a probation. And that whole idea is to gauge their attitude. If the attitude sucks, we eject them. But if they don't have the right skills, but their attitude is amazing, but they are willing to learn and grow and work hard, we know we can train them to have the right skills. Attitude is the most important thing. You hire for attitude, you train for skill. So you want to make sure that your interview questions and when you're screening video cover letters, you are gauging attitude. And that's something that you cannot see in a resume. What are resumes designed to do? They're designed to list skills. Resumes by default, as far as I'm concerned, are obsolete. Video cover letters show you attitude. Because from that video, it's like seeing that person in front of you. You are better able to gauge who they are. This is why you need to forget resumes. Keep them as a reference point, but start going for face-to-face interviews and video cover letters, okay? Now, another thing we do that's worked really great for us, and this is a great tip, I totally recommend it, recruit through parties. After a while, we stopped advertising on JobStreet because every JobStreet ad would get us 2,000 resumes from people who were not even reading the ad. They were just resume blasting, and it was an absolute waste of time. So one day, after going through 100 resumes on JobStreet, I decided, screw this, and I brought my HR department together. I'm like, what are we paying for JobStreet? They said 3,000 ringgit. I'm like, okay, kill that, take that 3,000 ringgit. I want you to toss the most insane party you can think of. So we hired a bar below the KL Tower. We put 3,000 ringgit, tossed this incredible Halloween party, but here's the thing. I had about 50 employees back then. I gave each of them 2 tickets. I said, 1 ticket is for you. The other ticket is for you to bring the most brilliant person you know in Kuala Lumpur. So we ended up having this Halloween party with 100 people, 50 of my employees and 50 random brilliant people. What did we do then? We just spoke to these random brilliant people and said, hey, does your job suck? Does your company not toss really awesome Halloween parties? Well, join Mindvalley. And so Mindvalley has tons and tons and tons of parties. And at these parties, we attract brilliant people. That's Eva. Eva was a girl, or rather a zombie, I met at the Halloween party. And we got to talking. I was a pirate, she was a zombie. We got to talking, and I'm like, if you hate your job, quit and join Mindvalley. She did. Today, Eva runs Mindvalley Poland. She's a partner in that business. She just launched, now 7 years later, she just launched a whole Polish yoga e-commerce site. You get brilliant people from this type of recruiting. If you want to attract smart people, don't go through normal channels because that's what everyone else is doing. You got to think out of the box. Okay, number 3, define values. You must have really tight values governing your company. We do this exercise with our team. 6 years ago, we got our entire team together and we asked everyone to write down 10 values that they feel are really important to them in terms of their workspace. We had 50 people, so we had 500 different values. We put these in clusters, and then we looked for trends. And with this, we came up with what we call the Code of Awesomeness. 7 years later, this code still governs us today. This Code of Awesomeness helps us understand how to run our company. We know that dare to dream big is a key value. I evolve through learning is a key value. When we're making decisions in meetings, we know that if this decision is to create something that doesn't benefit the customer, we know to kill it because we have a value there that says turn customers into raving fans. That's why these values are so important. I recently had to let go of someone because they violated a value, transparency and candor, because they had an issue with their manager, but they spoke behind the manager's back rather than face to face. These values basically help us preserve our culture. But note, the employees came up with it. I had no say in this. I could tell them that I believe dreaming big is important, but ultimately, it had to make their list. Okay, now every new member who joins Mindvalley takes what is called an oath of awesomeness. They come in front of the entire company. This was our last batch from a few weeks ago. They all hold hands, raise their right hand, and take an oath on those values. That's how important values are. So you need to have your values established. Do this exercise with your team. It brings people together, but it also gives you a DNA, a code on behavior and culture within your company. Now, number 4, this is a book I'm actually writing. It's called Consciousness Engineering. I love the idea of being able to hack the human mind. When I was a kid, I used to play computer games. I used to play this game called Rings of Zilfin, right? Anyone played Rings of Zilfin? That's because I'm a lot older than you guys. And this was like in 1989. So I played this character called Reese who had to defeat this bad guy called Lord Dragos. And the game was really, really, really long. Being a geek, I decided to just teach myself computer programming, hack the game, and give Reese unlimited speed so I could move through the game faster. And I also gave him like unlimited power, unlimited gold, everything. Basically, I just cheated. But I got to kill Lord Dragos in record time, and I was proud of that. Now, think about it, right? We have all these attributes about our mind. Which of these are hackable? Consciousness engineering is a science we apply at Mindvalley to hack the mind of our employees to make them into, for lack of a better word, superheroes. A lot of the beliefs that you have in your head are not there by rational choice. They were there because society implanted them in you. So we believe things about the world that come from our mothers or our fathers or our teachers, things such as, work is hard, but we have to do it anyway. You cannot be friends with your boss. You always have to watch your back because people will backstab you. Those kind of beliefs. These are the beliefs that we want to wash away from the minds of our employees because these beliefs are true, but only if you believe them to be true. See, reality is subjective. We make it up all the time. Our beliefs become our reality. There was a study done, right, by a group of scientists, and they were interviewing hotel maids. They were wondering, why is it that hotel maids in America tend to be obese, but they're running up and down stairs, hauling vacuum cleaners, flipping over mattresses, but they were not fit. So they did this fake study where they brought the hotel maids together, and they made them do a quiz, okay, a survey on their hotel. At the end of the survey, the scientists told the maids, my God, Matilda, based on what you're telling me about how much you're working, do you realize you're probably burning an extra 1,000 calories a day? You must be really fit. That was it. Now, the whole survey was a sham. What the scientists really wanted to do is just put the idea in the maid's head that they must be really fit. They came back 30 days later, and the maids had lost weight, and their cholesterol count was down, all because of an idea implanted in their head in 1 minute. Think about this and how you can apply it to your employees by flipping how they see themselves. There's another study, 1968 Pygmalion Effect Experiment. It said that if a manager expects someone to be a top performer, they become a top performer. But is it the manager's expectation? Or is there some subconscious connection that's happening? So we try to bring these into our company culture. We shift the beliefs of our employees and we help them adopt new beliefs about the world. See, everybody comes into the world with a series of set rules in their head. What is a rule? A rule is a bullshit rule that we adopt to simplify our understanding of the world. So we don't understand why certain things work, rather than we accept it. Brain drain will prevent you from ever building a great company in Malaysia is a rule. Malaysia has no talent is a rule. You cannot build a world-class company here in Malaysia is a rule. When people think of Malaysia, they will only think of palm oil, Petronas, and Proton Sagas is a rule. I can guarantee you, I believe in 20 years, when people think about Malaysia, they'll think the country that hacked global education. Rules are a simple way of giving excuses to underperform. So, outside the rules of physics and the rules of law, all other rules are illusions that we have chosen to believe. Your job is to smash the ones that no longer serve you and to smash the ones that no longer serve your employees. Work can be fun. You can create products that can scale and give meaning to the world. You can create works of art in your app or your design. All of these are beliefs that you have to control in your company and implant into your employees. Now the question is, how do you do that? Well, first remember, reality is what you decide it is. Starting today, you can choose to just shift your vision of reality, like those hotel mates, and you will see shifts in how the world responds to you. The code is one way, but what I'm going to talk about is this technique, and we come to number 5, transparency and alignment. Okay, so we do this. We shift rules. We shift people's beliefs through rethinking our all-hands meeting. Your all-hands meeting is typically a meeting where you bring all your people together for a company update. Many companies do this on a weekly basis. We have a space called the Hall of Auditorium. We bring together 150 employees, but it's not called an all-hands meeting. It's called the Awesomeness Report. And this is what happens. Okay, so it starts with this. It starts with loud pumping music. Everybody comes. They're sitting in beanbags. Then we play this video to signal to them that the A report is about to start. Now notice something there. What did we see in that startup montage? Our employees celebrating, having fun, and that sets the tone for the rest of the meeting. Work is fun. That's the implied belief. Then what we go on to do, that's an actual visual of the A report and how we celebrate it. You can see there we are celebrating one of our employees becoming a father. We celebrate our employees. It's designed to be part daily show, part update. So we make jokes about what's going on. We share funny updates. But we do two things. The first is we celebrate victories. So what happens is every team has a slide with their team picture. And we bring in professional photographers to take photos of every team. So our employees look like rock stars. A lot of our employees in Mindvalley have professional profile shots done for them by Malaysia's top photographer, Paulie Astanias, who incidentally also works for us. So all our teams have these beautiful photos of themselves, and then we share team updates. For example, our customer support team will share their customer love updates, love letters that got from customers. Okay, and it looks like this. It's just simple slides. We share a schedule. We let people know what's coming up next. We talk about, from the CEO level, how we are scaling for growth. Teams share their high scores. Just like a computer game, every team has a score they have to hit. This is our score from our content marketing team in terms of visitors, organic visitors to a particular blog. If they beat the high score, they get to ring the bell of awesomeness that is only to be rung in moments of sheer and total awesomeness. So the employee comes on stage, rings the bell, and I'm just hosting it. Every team sends their team leader up on stage or a random person from stage to give that update. In the end of 1 hour, we've expressed gratitude for all our accomplishments. We have celebrated people. We've had fun. And here's why it's important. A scientist called Paul Marston did a study, and he wrote a paper called Memetics and Social Conditioning. What he says is that we inherit and transmit behaviors, emotions, beliefs, and religions, not through rational choice, but through contagion. When we are unsure how to act in a situation, we look around and we imitate. So if you have employees, or even one employee who's complaining about how the boss doesn't listen to their brilliant ideas, other people imitate that. If you have one employee who's crazy passionate about the work they're doing, people imitate that. We don't just imitate words or ideas, we subconsciously imitate emotion. Science is showing that engagement gets unconsciously imitated. Happiness gets unconsciously imitated. So it's superbly important that you're able to control the beliefs and the emotional state of your company. Now, the second thing we do at the A Report to help create positive visions is we make them envision the future. We sometimes actually have our entire team meditating together, visualizing the perfect day 3 years down the road. Why? Because excitement spreads. Vision, excitement about what you're going to create, engagement, stress, anxiety, boredom, confidence, excitement, engagement are all contagious. And we want to have control over these contagions. So another study, this is by Yale psychologist Segal Barsdale, emotional contagion and its influence on group behavior. What he found is that positive people improve team members' performance, group performance, they reduce group conflict, they create more cooperation, and they create greater overall performance for the task at hand. And you know how they did this study? In certain teams and companies, they simply primed someone going into that team meeting to be very positive. Maybe he got a glowing report from his boss, but he walked in, he doesn't even know what he's doing, but just his energy state infects everything else. And it creates this ripple effect where group behavior goes up. So we celebrate like crazy at Mindvalley. Almost every week, one team is popping champagne to celebrate something. We have a champagne budget for our company. Celebration creates positivity. Positivity is infectious, and good companies are happy companies. Now, every manager in Mindvalley learns this. If you're having a bad day, don't come to work, because you will infect your team. And if you have to come to work, assemble your team and explain. Say, look guys, just want you to know, I had something really bad happen to me. I'm feeling a little bit down. I could use your support. Just know it's not you. It's really, really, really important. Why? Because happiness. Since behaviors and emotions are contagious, you will always want to maintain happiness in your company. Now, why happiness, right? Happiness is the new productivity. That's a phrase I coined. I coined it maybe 7 years ago in our first Mindvalley job ad. Today, science is proving that phrase to be correct. Studies done on doctors show that doctors are 19% more accurate when they are happy. Optimistic salespeople outsell pessimistic salespeople by 56%. Students primed to be happy do better in a test. And it turns out, according to Sean Aker, that our brains are literally hardwired to perform at their best, not when they are negative or even neutral, but when they are positive. But what makes us happy? There are a couple of specific things you can inject into your company culture to create happiness, to engineer it like a science. First, flex time. One study shows that nothing contributes to happiness more than being able to choose your working hours. This is why Richard Branson at Virgin just declared unlimited holidays for all his staff. At Mindvalley, we don't really observe public holidays. You choose when you want to work. We have a set number of holidays that people can take. We might shift to unlimited holidays soon, but the more important thing is people choose their working hours. So some people can come in at noon and leave at 9 p.m. Others could come in at 7 and leave at 4. As long as they've arranged it with their teams, they choose their working hours. Some teams will take a 2-hour break to go out to drive all the way to PJ to try food at this new restaurant that just opened up in the middle of work. As long as they get their jobs done, it's fine. People self-govern. Of the workplace benefits that Gallup studied, flex time yielded the strongest relationship to overall well-being among employees. And this is an amazing thing that every company should do. No excuse. There's another study by Ed Diener, right, and Martin Seligman called the Very Happy People Study. So this was done at Harvard. And these Harvard scientists wanted to figure out what contributes to happiness most. Was it warm weather? Was it great clothing? Was it looking good? Was it having inspiring boss? It was neither of those. Turns out there was only one factor that contributes the highest to human happiness with a correlation of 0.7%, and that is the strength of your social connections. Basically, your friendships and your love life. The more social connections you have and the strength of it, the happier you are. So think about this. If social connections lead to happiness and happiness leads to productivity boost, what does this mean? What it means is that companies should be encouraging friendship within their employees. And so at Mindvalley, we toss lots of parties. But it's not just Mindvalley. I was talking to Richard Branson once, and by the way, when you're hanging out with Branson, that's how you hang out, in a toga, on a bar, half naked. And he said, this should be in every single business plan. Have lots and lots and lots and lots of parties, and the CEO should be the first person jumping into the pool. And I take that really seriously. So we have tons of parties. We love bringing our employees together. Tonight, we have another big Mindvalley party in Changkat. But it's because it creates friendships, and these friendships are supremely important. A study by Gallup called Friends at Work showed that close work friendships boost employee satisfaction by a whopping 50% And people with a best friend at work are 7 times more likely to be fully engaged. So get your employees to be friends with each other. Some companies ban that. Some companies say, oh, you can't be friends with the boss. Some companies say, you can't date a coworker. Bullshit. Let people be people. Let them hang out, party, date, and so on. This creates, you obviously want to date someone in your office. But what I'm saying is, it's cool. Now, we also engineer this. We have a secret society called SPLASH. SPLASH stands for Secret Society for Platonic Love, Appreciation, Smiles, and Happiness. So employees get to secretly join this society, and they're given a budget, and they get to do weird things to inject happiness and bring people together. For example, SPLASH organized, in November, they organized a Tash and Heels Day. Tash meaning mustache, and heels meaning, well, heels. And so everybody comes to work in heels, and the guys come in mustaches. So the women are all feminine, the men are all manly, but looking stupid. But we have a lot of fun with it. And this fun translates throughout the company. So we have a professional photographer there taking photos. People are posing with each other. Yes, it disrupts work, but it leads to such high levels of engagement that it makes up for that disruption in the rest of the year. Sean Aker in The Happiness Advantage said, studies found that when a leader is in a positive mood, their employees are most likely to be in a positive mood themselves, to exhibit pro-social helping behavior towards one another, and to coordinate tasks more efficiently and with less effort. So when you inject this in your company, as the founder, as the leader, you want to make sure that you are the happiest, weirdest, in the case of a party, slightly more drunk person there. It helps. Incidentally, Richard Branson, when he launched his Virgin call center in the UK, he tossed this massive party for all the new employees. And it was epic, it was huge. But the press got wind of it, and some journalists snuck in, and they wrote this really nasty article, said, Virgin's call center is a disgrace to English culture. We observe people drunk in the car parks, fornicating on top of a car. And Branson, in his book, said, at first, when I read that, I was like, oh my God, what did I do? But the very next day, he said, we got 2,000 applicants to the call center. So what I'm trying to say is, let people be people, and happiness is a core of our DNA. Companies that don't get this are destined to die out. Companies that get this, Google, Facebook, Mindvalley, are the companies that you will see rule the world. Mindvalley, because we love parties, because we love culture, because we love diversity, every 2 weeks we have a culture day. Every 2 weeks. So on Malaysian Culture Day, all our Malaysians come together, cook Malaysian food for everyone else. We actually brought in wayang kulit artists to teach our foreign employees about that art. We taught people Malaysian dances like the joget. And then we also have Indian Culture Day, where all our Indian employees made everyone dress in saris. We have a Ukrainian Culture Day, a Russian Culture Day, an Estonian Culture Day, a Latina Culture Day. It is amazing. Every 2 weeks, we keep this momentum going, and people absolutely love it. The Science of Social says, in the book Good to Great, Jim Collins said, the people we interviewed from Good to Great companies clearly loved what they did, largely because of who they did it with. So you really want to make sure that this is happening. Rethink the water cooler. For many companies, the biggest amount of social interaction people get is when they go for a glass of water. We design our offices to create friendships from spaces like that actually resemble a really cool home kitchen, where employees can come, hang out, and work, to guitars lying around, musical instruments, where people can just come pick up a guitar and play a tune, to even an office park. All of this is not very expensive. In fact, if you need to know how much we spent on office decor, it's about 180 ringgit per square foot, which is not very high. And often on Fridays or Thursdays, after 7 p.m., we allow parties and drinking in the office, even sometimes play loud music and have dance competitions. All these things help. And it's not just Mindvalley. I used to work for Microsoft. Microsoft did the same thing. 5 p.m., they bring a keg into the office, and all their programmers start drinking together. And it really helps. Number 7, you got to train your culture to dream big. This is the first tenet on our code of awesomeness. Okay, so everyone at Mindvalley is trained and primed to be big thinkers. One of the ways we do this is through an annual team retreat. We get everyone together on an Air Asia flight, 100+ people, fly them to Langkawi or Bali or Phuket and put them in a team retreat. Now I'm going to give you a visual of this so you understand. Okay, in the interest of time, we'll skip forward. So you get an idea of what's going on in that team retreat, but there's a science to what's going on. And it's a science designed to get our employees to think bigger and beyond anything that they're currently doing. So here's what's happening. We get our teams into their departments, and we get them to hack their department. I step aside, all our customer support people get together, and they come up with new innovations on how to rethink customer support. Our marketing team might come together, come up with new innovations, and they come up with maybe 10, 20 ideas, then they pitch it as a team, and they choose the top 3 ideas. And those 3 ideas, they pitch to a wider team until it's one idea, and that one idea gets implemented. So teams get to brainstorm in a swimming pool over beers. They are given flip charts. They get to sit on the sand. We want to put them in a creative environment. That's what they do on day 1. On day 2, we ask them to think even bigger. How can you hack the business? Not your department, but how can you hack the business? And this is really important because businesses, if they do not innovate, they die. Does anybody know that Nokia once used to manufacture rubber boots? Nokia was smart. It went into mobile phones and dominated that. But it didn't innovate fast enough. And now Nokia is a shell of what it used to be. Companies have to constantly reinvent and innovate. And that's what we try to do. So day 2, people come together again, but now they pursue new ideas to take the company in. One of these new ideas, like Ombana, became incredibly successful, but it came from employees. See, the confident pursuit of big goals inspires radical innovation. So we ask our employees, okay, we are at this revenue. How could we grow 5x in 2 years? What would you do? And then every team breaks out and they start their brainstorms. Number 8, personal growth. Okay, but before we go to number 8, do team retreats. It's not just about bonding. Our team retreats are also known for crazy, amazing parties and tons of fun, but it's also about getting your people together so they can innovate and create. And smart people love that. They die if they cannot contribute to innovation in their company. Number 8, personal growth. I used to believe in this definition of leadership. Leadership is getting people to do things you want done because they want to do it, by Dwight Eisenhower. That, though, is a definition of leadership from the 1950s. At Mindvalley, this is our definition of leadership. Leadership is recognizing that we are all one, that every person you lead is as brilliant as you, as talented as you, and has the same capacity for growth and accomplishment. They simply need to be reminded of this fact. So our entire culture is around growing people. So, for example, everyone in Mindvalley gets unlimited access to books on Amazon. They can buy any book they want. We buy it for them. We put it in the company library, and they get to check it out. We have Learn Days. The first Friday of every month, nobody has to do their job. Instead, employees take turns becoming students or teachers, and they create classes for each other. So you can go and learn photography or go and learn web design from other employees teaching, whatever fits your passion. Sometimes teams come together and use that Learn Day to hack and come up with a new app idea or a new software or a new design or a new logo. It's a beautiful thing, but people spend the first Friday every month learning. We created our own Hall of Awesomeness, which we then encouraged our employees to go out into the community and form groups around their passion. One employee, Nia Wuhan, started a group called Webcamp. How many of you have been to Webcamp? Webcamp is Malaysia's biggest technology group. Wuhan started it with 7 people using our hall. Now some 150 people show up once a month for Webcamp meetings. And what do? They share the latest trends in technology and web application development. So our people learn, but we're also contributing to the greater community. See, Abraham Lincoln said, if you were to give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, I would spend 4 hours sharpening my axe. The mistake most people make is they stay in the gray zone. They continue doing what they're doing, the way they're doing it forever and ever and ever. Lack of innovation means lack of spike in terms of productivity. So we make it clear that our employees have to spend a chunk of their time, at least 5% of their time, learning about what they do. Customer support people read books on customer support. Programmers get a time and they are paid to actually read books on development.
Let me tell you.
We're going to skip that, okay, in the interest of time. As a result, Mindvalley is known for taking employees and turning them into entrepreneurs. These are all employees who started at Mindvalley and today run their own business, 50% roughly owned with Mindvalley. We invest in these ideas, and we've been able to start businesses in Latin America, in Poland, in Russia, with employees who come to KL, learn, we help bring them up, we groom them, and now they become partners. So a simple way you can help your employees grow is to implement the 3 most important questions exercise. We have all our employees do this exercise. Basically, they set goals in 3 areas: experiences, growth, contribution. I won't go into detail, but this exercise is available online. Now, every employee has their goal, their bucket list on a giant wall in Mindvalley. Every other employee gets to check it out. So not only are you publicly stating your goals, but employees can get together with each other and pursue goals. Recently, 4 employees all discovered that they all wanted to hike in Nepal. They all went to Nepal for 7 days, hiked 80 kilometers, came back, and shared it with the rest of the team. This is something that traditional jobs do not give, but it's so important to the human experience. Now, if you want to do this exercise, these are what the goal sheets look like. So this is an interesting one. This is from one of our employees. Her name is Dana. While at Mindvalley, she got to cross off a lot of these goals, including be a published author. While at Mindvalley, she wrote a blog post that got 1.2 million shares on Facebook and was offered a publishing deal by Penguin Books. Working in Malaysia, she created that, and now she's going to be a published author, and everyone in Mindvalley supported her. It's insane that out of 80 employees, we have 2 who are 25 and 26 who were offered publishing contracts from US book companies because of the output that they created while at Mindvalley, just writing. So this crazy levels of growth come when you have all these employees collaborating and helping each other. And right now, I'm writing a book, and my employees who have become published authors are helping me with advice. Okay? A Gallup study on 10 million employees found that one of the things that made people the most productive was when they answered yes to this question. My supervisor or someone at work seems to care about me as a person. When you make your employees think about their goals, and you put it up on a wall, and you're looking at that, and you use this as a management tool. When I'm meeting employees, they bring their 3 most important questions sheet. I sit down with them over lunch, and we talk about it. And if there's any way I can help them, I help them. One of the biggest things that creates loyalty in any company. If you want to download this particular exercise, the 3 most important questions, with me guiding you through it, you can get it from Omvana. It's free. Just download Omvana on your iPhone. Or if you don't have an iPhone, go to Omvana online and just play it there. It's like Spotify. And the final thing is meaning. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry said, if you want to build a ship, don't drum up people to collect wood and don't assign them tasks and work, but rather teach them to long for the endless immensity of the sea. What this means, again, is that just like your job ad, people don't care what you do. They care about why you do it. They want meaning in their lives. I found that the smartest people in the world crave meaning the most. That's why it's important that your company does something more than just build a product to make money. A Gallup study on men who retire at 80 found that 86% kept working because they found their job fun. So fun is important. But 93% kept working because they found their job meaningful. Meaning is a key ingredient to building company culture. The problem with most people is that their problems aren't big enough. They wake up in the morning and they're upset because that guy they're interested in didn't call them back, or that TV show got canceled, or the taxi driver was rude to them. These are little problems. Most people, your issue is that you're obsessed with the little problems. I want people who are obsessed with grander problems. How do we hack high school education so every child born in the world enjoys going to school? How do we make 1 billion people meditate every single day because of the science benefits? How do we help countries like Malaysia become world-class by hacking the brains of their highest potential individuals? Those are the questions that I want to obsess the minds of my employees when they can't sleep at night. Not the bullshit that the rest of the world cares about. You want to make sure your employees have the biggest damn problems in the world. That's what gives them meaning. So our problem is we want to get our products, our health products, to 1 billion people. That's what obsessed us. And interestingly enough, I was once, about 3 years ago, me and Kylie rented a yacht, went to the Virgin Islands at the invitation of Branson, and got to spend some time with Richard Branson on his private island, Necker Island. For me and Kylie, it was a dream, right? And I remember one night, I was sitting with Branson on the beach, and I asked him, okay, Richard, so we were talking about everything, parenting, raising kids, and I said, Richard, I know you don't like talking about business, but if you could summarize what makes you you. I mean, you have started 8 different companies in 8 different industries and taken all 8 to $1 billion. If you could put it in one tweetable thing so I could share and be really popular in social media, what would you say? And this is what Richard said. He said, it's all about finding and hiring people smarter than you, getting them to join your business, giving them good work, then getting out of the way and trusting them. You have to get out of the way so that you can focus on the bigger vision. That's important. But here's the main thing. You must make them see their work as a mission. That's straight from Branson's mouth. And that's what is the key idea I want to leave you guys with. So at Mindvalley, we even started something called Project Renaissance. We believe companies should give back to their society. So at Project Renaissance, we opened up a Hall of Awesomeness so people can come and attend talks and lectures over there. We host some 200 events with 10,000 participants. This year it's going to be 20,000, and it's mostly for free or for a small fee because we want to give back. And this is one of the things that our employees say they really love about our company. Free auditoriums, open sourcing ideas lead to more than just good feelings. They lead to loyalty, to passionate individuals, to people who join you, ready to follow you and change the world. And this is what makes your company grow. So I believe I'm going to create the world's greatest workplace in the world by the year 2020. I know there are still kinks I have to iron out. We still have a long way to go. But this is what obsesses me. This is what we're trying to do. And I'm doing it here in Kuala Lumpur. If you want to get many of these ideas, go to mindvalleyinsights.com. We openly share a lot of these ideas on culture, on even ideas on like how we growth hack our apps. It's because we believe that we're all in this together. Not just me and my employees, but me and my city and all of you over here. I want my children to grow up in Kuala Lumpur, not the way some Malaysians see it, but the way I want the world to see it, as the city with some of the smartest, most innovative people in the world, with a city where we're innovating on 3D printing, on web apps, where rockstar entrepreneurs are coming together in collaborative groups like this, learning and growing. My dream is to have Kuala Lumpur be one of the top 10 cities in the world to launch a startup, and to do so in the next 1 year. I believe we're so close, 1 year, and we kick Singapore off the list. Now, why we do it? So you see, we have our global mission, but we have our internal mission, giving back, and that keeps our people to us. But why do we do this? It's because, think about it, right? You spend 70% of your working hours at work. All of us do. We take time away from our kids, from our family, to be at work. Why shouldn't work be the happiest, most fulfilling, most celebratory, most enticing times of your life? That's what we owe the human population. And that's why a massive work revolution in corporate companies, startups, government is necessary. This is why I'm so passionate about this. And I ask you guys to take what you learned here. I've given you a ton of ideas. Start rolling them out. Write to me, share them with me if you have stuff that you feel have really worked. And I'd love to even write about your ideas on Mindvalley Insights so all of us can learn from each other. My Twitter is @Vishen, Facebook is Vishen Lakhiani. Go ahead and follow me. And thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thanks. Sure. Sure.
Very quickly, we have about 10 minutes. If you have any questions for Vishen, please raise your hands. We'll bring the mic over to you. Very quickly.
Thanks for the talks. It's great stuff. How much do you spend on videography and photography?
Videography and photography?
Percentage-wise annually, because I see it's a big sell of what you guys do, and I think that's really how you communicate your values.
Right. So that's a very good thing, right? We brand our company really well. Many of you you've probably seen him in the local press. His name is Paulius Stanius. He's a Lithuanian photographer, moved from Lithuania to come and join us at Mindvalley as our graphic designer. Paulius he has photographed Metallica, and he's brilliant. He's out there, but he works at Mindvalley because he loves the job, and he's with other amazing people. We have Paulius do a lot of our stuff. You know, we can't afford to pay him, you know, what, say, a large concert producer can pay him, but we can pay him enough and give him a healthy work environment where he enjoys doing it. So we were able to negotiate that. But if you can't, hire or learn photography yourself. See, if you get on Google and you Google Mindvalley sucky, you will see an article I wrote called How Mindvalley Evolved from Suckiness and Chaos to What We Are Today. And you will see before and after pictures of our old office in Cheras where Kylie was working and our new office right now. And if you look at the pictures of the old office, you will see how downtrodden it was. But we were still getting responses and people joining us, even with that old, ugly pictures, because of the culture. I remember 8 years ago, I was driving to the Cheras office with Kylie, and he broke some news to me. He's like, Vishen, McKinsey just offered me a job at 3 times the salary you're paying me. And he said, but I'm not going to take it, because I love the culture. Now, if you actually Google that article, How Mindvalley Sucky, and you'll see the article, How Mindvalley Evolved from Suckiness and Chaos, you'll see a picture of Kylie sitting in that downtrodden office. It's a horrible picture. And you would not believe why he's there, but it was the culture. So the point I'm trying to make is, the pictures are nice, but you don't need the pictures. You get the culture, and you will attract great photographers to take those gorgeous pictures. But go for the culture. I pulled this off starting in a warehouse in Cheras. Next. Yes.
Hi, thank you so much for sharing. I want to go zooming into the hacks in school.
Right.
What is it that you're working on for hacks in school and education, and who do you like to partner with?
I'm so glad you asked. And here's the thing. It's really, really secret. So Peter Thiel said this. Peter Thiel said, a great company is a conspiracy to change the world. We have our conspiracy. But we keep it a secret because what we're trying to build is so crazy that people will laugh at us. But that's exactly why we're doing it, because no one else is thinking about it. But I can't share it, because you'll laugh. But then you'll be a billionaire. But I'm going to keep that as our conspiracy. But you'll see it unravel. You'll see it happening over and over. You'll see it happening slowly. Right now, we don't really partner. If we see a company we need, we acquire it, or you know. So that's how we do it. Acqui-hiring, really. Yes.
Here.
Yes.
Hi, Vishen. I'm from Magic.
Hi.
Okay. It looks like Mindvalley. You're all, you know, towards game changing. Yeah, this game changing here, and you've got big goals. Very short span of time.
Mm-hmm.
So in Magic, this is it. We promote, or we encourage greatly personal growth and development.
Mm-hmm.
We embrace leadership, and we want to get the best of them. So, you know, very lean organization. So in the move of going forward, of achieving this, and the fact that you are probably one of millions who are doing differently, and I'm sure you're constantly being pulled towards the norm, right?
Pull towards the norm.
Yeah, like challenges, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you want to go out there and be a change, but sometimes you're restrained because this is how the norm is, the culture, the environment.
Mm-hmm.
So, and when your employees are geared towards something they're passionate about, there'll be challenges along the way for them to achieve that, right? Because of what's norm.
Right. So let me answer the question.
Yeah.
So, firstly, we don't play that game. That's a game. It's a rule. It's something you choose to play. You choose to see that there are barriers or there's the norm. We find the norm fascinating because the norm means opportunity. Taxis in Malaysia suck. Good. You invent an app like My Taxi. or Uber. We love the norm because when we look at the norm, we're like, oh my God, that's something we can shift. But we go in there fully expecting to shift it because we know we are smarter than the norm. But there's also a psychological element to it. I have a personal promise to myself. If there's something I don't like about anything, I do not bitch about it. I change it. So, for example, I really dislike Malaysian taxis. I think they're an embarrassment to the country, and that entire thing needs to be replaced with Uber. So what do I do? So what do I do? I'm not starting Uber. I'm not investing in Uber. But if you follow me on Facebook, I've been sneakily praising Uber because I know I have a lot of followers, including people in the government who follow me. And I'm writing an article right now predicting the future of transportation, which I'm going to make sure that gets into the hands of people in the government, predicting why Malaysia needs to embrace Uber and how we can have some of the best transformation infrastructure in the world by getting rid of our proton-based taxis. So my philosophy is this: if there's something I don't like, I must do something to shift it, but I do not complain. And we put this into the minds of our employees. So Mindvalley people do a lot of stuff. There's maybe some 20 different volunteer groups, charitable causes and stuff that emerge from Mindvalley people in Kuala Lumpur because of this attitude. And whatever attitude the founder has tends to permeate by osmosis to everyone else. So I am an eternal positive person. Nothing really makes me feel that I can't do it. I'm mildly delusional, but that is how I choose to live life. I look at every challenge as something to shift, and and I just pursue it. But I never bitch, never complain. I love the norm. The norm just means I get to jump over it. Thanks. Sure. Thank you.
I just want to know that it looks like your culture is all created by your employees, right? So your culture is created by your employees, dictated by your employees. But from Cheras to Bangsar, like you didn't have that culture yet. So how did you start the fire? Did you do it yourself, or? So
it's not true to say the culture is dictated by the employees. Culture always comes from the founder. Always comes from the founder. I am an unusual founder, so I managed to create this. But also, what made me unique is, before I started Mindvalley, and many people don't know this, but I was a meditation instructor. I was teaching it in New York. I was fascinated by the human mind. Started out in Silicon Valley. As I started embracing personal growth, I could really rocket my performance in Silicon Valley. So I got obsessed with hacking the human mind. So I started hacking my own mind. That helped me start Mindvalley. Then I figured out, how can I multiply this and hack mass minds in a company? So that's how we created the culture. Now my next challenge, because I'm good at creating culture, my next challenge is, how can I hack an entire city? So I'm actually working on my own conspiracy right now to change Malaysian culture into what I believe it should be. I'm a prolific hacker, but while most people hack technology, I'm obsessed with hacking how human beings think. Mostly it was me. If I had to state the biggest supporter in terms of our employees who helped, it was Kylie.
Yes. Hi, Vishen. I'm Azam, and I'm from Cheras.
Yes.
And it's a good place to do business, actually.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I'm kidding. My father's, the warehouse I was talking about is my father's building. So my family actually works in Cheras. That's where I started. Okay. But it is really, it could be better.
Okay, the question is, when we're bringing new ideas or try to implement new culture, do you face any kind of resistance from the staff, especially when the culture, they are used to it, and they are used to the culture setting and the environment?
Yes.
Yes. My staff is mostly my environment is mostly female dominated working environment. So I'm having, yeah. because there's a lot of emotion when we try to do changes, to do new culture.
So let me explain. Mindvalley also, right now Mindvalley is majority guys because we've moved very heavily in tech. So we have a tech team, which as you guys know is like 98% dudes. But prior to that, when we were mostly in media, we were 66% women. It actually helped the culture. If you look at our culture, it's a lot more relationship-based, a lot more heart-based. Evolutionary biology says that the female brain is better for relationships and things like that. So having a female-dominated culture is actually a gift to your culture. It's actually going to make you get to where we are faster. Now, the geeks that we hire, the male geeks, will also like greet each other by hugging themselves, you know, like give people gifts of appreciation. But that doesn't traditionally emerge from male culture as easily as it does from female culture. So you are one lucky bastard. Okay? Right. So here's what you got to do. Here's the second thing you should know. When you're making decisions in culture, you always make the decisions not that's going to help the majority of your employees, but the decisions that's going to help the top 10%. So when I decide I'm going to do this awesomeness report thing, because I know deep down in my heart, this is where we have to go. And I know that my best employees are going to be excited about it because they know they're going to be featured. But the weakest employees are going to go, oh, bloody hell. That other guy, the guy that the boss has favoritism for, he's going to get featured. This is such a waste of my time. I don't give a damn about them because you want to cater to the best and let the rest drop out. People think it's about retention. It's not. It's about constantly catering to your best employees, designing things to retain them, but letting the others fall out. That's what you want to do. So if there's resistance, who's it coming from? Someone whom you'd put in your top 10% or someone in your bottom 50? If it's the bottom 50 and you know, ignore them. Next.
I also do this.
Sorry, I can't hear you. The mic is off. Mm-hmm.
But at times when it is a bit of disrupting the work. So you did mention just now disrupting work.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that? How do you deal with that?
Well, here's the thing. What are you defining as work? Okay, so and I know how you're going to answer that. What are you defining as work? Let's say you're a coding shop. Is your work coding? Yes, but your work is also, but that's not the work. The work is building whatever app it is that you're trying to build. That's the end result. Now, that end result doesn't come from just coding. In fact, you just put a bunch of programs and ask them to code, you're probably going to get lousy code. You get great code when you give these people a chance to sit back, to relax, to have a beer with coworkers, to create friendships, because that leads to higher engagement, to be able to relax for a while, maybe play a computer game so their brains can reboot and refresh. So what we think is work is a bad definition. It's rote task. It evolves from 100 years ago when we created an education system to train people to be factory workers in an automatons. That's not how it works anymore. The most creative people do not work consistently in an 8-hour stretch. They need those gaps. They need those creativity breaks. I find that when I take a holiday and I come back, I'm so much more creative. But if I constantly just work, I'm operating in the gray zone. So rethink what you mean by work. We have a massive culture day every 10 days in Mindvalley. And in that 10 days, I'd say maybe there's about 90 minutes to 2 hours where work is disrupted. But I can tell you this, the next 9 days, work accelerates because of the friendships and the fun and the creativity that was injected because of that culture day. That's why at Microsoft, at 5 p.m., I worked on the Windows Shell team. They would bring in a crate of beer at 5 p.m., and everyone would start, drinking. And then go back to coding. Okay, maybe that's why Microsoft products have so many bugs. But the point is, it made us love working there. Next.
Hi, I'm MJ. Can you hear me okay? How do you evaluate the right fit to create the dream team? Does everyone in the team need to be super smart, outgoing?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Super smart, absolutely. Outgoing, not so much. You can have, I'm more of an introvert. You can have extroverts, you can have introverts. So outgoing is, you know, it's arbitrary. But super smart, yes. But beyond super smart, you need super smart and you need the right attitude. And attitude means someone who loves hacking, someone who sees opportunities, not problems, someone who looks at the norm and goes, that's something I'm going to fix. You want to always look at attitude. Now, what are the attitudes? Think about yourself as the founder. Think about what attitudes you value most. Look for that in your employees. I attract people who think, feel, and look at the world the way I do. And that's a good thing. Attitude is my top priority. Yeah. Smartness is second, attitude first.
Okay, that's all the time we have for questions. Thank you very much, Vishen.
Thanks.
Let people be people.